going to start, because the first part is whatever. I'm just going to talk about what I do a little bit. So I'm based here. My name is Tuesday, and I'm based here in New York City, right in central Harlem. And I've been operating my accounting firm for going on 9 years now. And we provide accounting, tax, and payroll services for women-owned businesses. We specialize in women-owned businesses because we enjoy working with women and helping them think through different aspects of their business as it pertains to their financial management. And we specialize in particular areas. So if you're in fashion, media, sports, entertainment, beauty, wellness, those types of industries, that's where we do our best work. So we are a women's ministry. Nice, New York beauties. So, and again, we are here. Our clients are not just in New York, however. I should say that we have clients in other states, and we certainly have tax clients in other states. And so we're not limited, because of technology, we're not limited to who we can provide services for. Most of the stuff is automated, and we do everything remotely. And so we can certainly help you as you start your business. Today's topic, again, is CPA versus non-CPA accountant. What else was I supposed to say to you? I think that's it before we get started in terms of introducing. So I am going to start. So, okay, Brittany's telling me something. Hold on. Huh? Huh?
A disclaimer.
Oh, okay. She reminded me to give a disclaimer. Okay, so yes, while I do this day in and day out all the time, and I got a pretty good handle on the information that I'm going to give you, I do have to issue a disclaimer that, you can't take this information and say, Tuesday swore by this and she caused me to ruin my business. So this is merely giving you general information, and Shanice is laughing, and I'm hoping that it will be helpful to you. Okay, so let's start with CPA. What is a CPA? Those letters stand for Certified Public Accountant, right? So that means this person is an accountant and they are certified, meaning they have a license. So all CPAs are accountants, but not all accountants are CPAs, meaning not all accountants have this license. So the accountant who is licensed, they have to they have to get at least a bachelor's degree. Most have a master's degree, or the 150 hours, which amounts to about a master's degree in accounting and business courses. And they have to sit for a 4-part exam. Okay, so anyone that has a CPA license is not a joke, right? They put in the work, and they have a license, and they can do certain things that non-CPA accountants cannot. So for instance, they can perform audits, and my computer's buzzing. They can perform audits on people's information, and they can render, hey, Adrian's notebook, and they can render an opinion on your financial statements. They can do reviews of your books, and there's certain higher level stuff that CPAs do that non-accountants cannot. And you should know that CPAs, they have to take continuing education courses. So they're studying, in most cases, all year round, pretty much, because they have a requirement in order to maintain their license of X number of hours of continuing ed credits. Whereas a non-CPA accountant may take continuing education courses, but they're not required to. So if you're going to work with a non-CPA accountant, you want to find one that is taking some continuing education courses, okay? So now, another thing is accountants, non-CPA accountants, typically have a 4-year degree as well. And a lot of times they specialize. So they may take one piece of work. They might like do accounts payable or just do accounts receivable. Or they may specialize in tax work, or they may specialize in forensic accounting or just in audits. So they're able to do a lot of the same work that the CPA does, but it's not necessarily with a license. A lot of times it's with a certification. So professional accountants can get certifications in certain specialty areas. So because an accountant doesn't have a license as a CPA, that does not mean, they're not capable of servicing you as a small business owner. So, all right, yep. The other thing is, ask me questions. If a question comes to mind while I'm going through this information, go ahead and type it in, and Brittany or Shanice will tell me what the question is, okay? I might not see it, but they will see it, and they'll let me know what it is. So it's not uncommon for accountants to work for CPA firms or work under a CPA or controller, and that's sort of where they cut their teeth and learn a lot about the accounting. So that's the distinct differences. One has a license that they have to maintain, and they have certain educational, requirements that they have to do every year, and one does not. But it does not mean that they both aren't doing the same thing, essentially. All right, so let's see. So you may wonder, so how do I know what type of accountant I need for my business, right? So you want to, let's see, the bottom line is someone has to help you manage your books. So whether that's an accountant or a CPA, someone has to help you manage your books. Now, typically that's a bookkeeper, right? Someone doing data entry. And no successful business owner does their own bookkeeping. I'm just saying. So you should know that. So as you're thinking about establishing your business, you should think about having someone maintain your books. Okay, so I have to disqualify one of my clients because I know that she does her books and she's a multi-million-dollar business, but whatever. She's an outlier. But for the most part, most of our businesses, we need a bookkeeper to do it. Now, the next level to that is your accountant. You have to think about retaining an accountant because you need someone that's going to help you figure out the certain metrics for your business, such as what are your profit margins? How good is your pricing? Do you have to make changes with your pricing? Are there areas where you can minimize your expenses? I mean, accountant is going to help you do a lot of that higher level thinking. They're going to help you interpret your financial statements. If that accountant specializes in tax work, then they may also do your tax work, which brings me to a very good point, another point that I have to tell you. Not all accountants do tax work, right? You have some CPAs that do not do tax work. They just focus on different types of accounting. And you have some non-CPA accountants that don't do tax work. So the person that does your taxes is your tax preparer. Now that person may double as a CPA, but for the most part, your tax preparer is someone who is focusing on tax work. Okay? Did we have any questions? Mm-hmm. Let me know. Okay, tell me a question.
How can you go from investing your business with your personal money to letting your business finance itself?
Oh, say that again.
How can you invest your own business with your personal money to letting your business finance itself?
Right. How can you do it?
Like, how can you go from investing
right.
in your business, with your personal
So
money?
we all, when we start our business, we're investing our own money, right? We're either working a full-time job, part-time job, whatever it is. We got resources, we got savings, wherever we cash out part of our retirement, whatever we're doing. However we start our business, in most cases, we started with our own money, right? So those are called startup expenses. And you need to feed that. And that's actually a good thing, right? It's called capitalizing your business. And every penny that you use to start your business, right, can either sit on your books as a liability, that like a loan that you will eventually take back, pay yourself back with, or it can sit on your books as equity, meaning this is, the dollar amount, the value of what I've invested in my business. And when you sell your business after it's wildly successful, you'll get that plus some back. So you first going to invest your money. Then once you start to have sales, or even before you start to have sales, one of the first things you want to do is set up a separate checking account for your business. It doesn't matter that you're taking personal money and using it for the business. You got to make the distinction between the two accounts. You want to avoid what's called commingling, right? So you take your personal money, you put it into your business account, you pay for all your business expenses through that separate account. And this is the type of things that accountants would help you figure out, okay? It's sort of off topic, but it is an important question, because a lot of people think because they're using their personal money that they could just spend on things in their personal account for their business, and that is not true. The moment you go into business, you want to make that separation, and you want to deposit that money into your business checking, and then you only want to pay for your business expenses. This helps you mitigate any liability down the line too, because you'll show, if something were to happen, you'll show the courts that, look, I'm treating this as a separate entity. So please don't hold me personally responsible for something that may have happened to someone. Okay, so I'm going to go on. So you might be trying to figure out, how do I engage an accounting professional, right? One thing you need to know is, if a person is a CPA, they're going to start with that. They're going to say, I'm a CPA. They're not going to say, I'm an accountant. They're entitled, because they worked their butt off and got that license. And they're not going to merely say, oh, I'm an accountant. So if someone says to you, I'm an accountant, you don't follow up with, and this happens all the time. They say, the person says, I'm an accountant. They go, oh, a CPA? That's not your follow-up question. Because if they were a CPA, they would have said so. So your follow-up question to an accountant is, yeah? Oh, so how long have you been in, doing this type of work? Or, oh, what do you specialize in? Oh, that's nice. Accountant? What company do you work for? Is it at your own practice? Like, there are other follow-up questions that you need to ask the person that says, I'm an accountant. It is not, are you a CPA? We had another question, I think, didn't
Atomico wants to know, are you a CPA?
Why or why not? I am not a CPA because I never had any interest in becoming a CPA, which is, I know, sort of weird, because this has been almost my life's work. I majored in accounting in high school, and then I went off to college and became a theater major. And my son is calling right now. Okay. And, I taught for a while. And so once I saw where I can help, because I was working with other small business owners, that's Ram, answer it and just tell him I'll call him back. Once I saw where I can help small businesses with my skill set in accounting and financial related stuff, I just decided to go into it and make that the focus of my business. So it was me using my skill set that I already had. It wasn't me becoming an accountant, so then, I don't know, I could go work for some firm and, I don't know, die a terrible slow death. Most CPAs, to me, they're not very happy. They're overwhelmed. They're miserable. And I don't know. It's just something I didn't want to be connected to. So I much more enjoy how I'm able to service my clients. Without it, it's just one of those things. Yes? Huh?
So the follow-up is, do you need an accountant to specialize in your field, or can you work with any accountant?
Do you need an accountant to special? Oh, so so me getting back to how you engage an accountant, you want to find an accountant that specializes in your particular industry. That's one of the other ways you gauge. You ask them, so, what do you specialize in? Because if you're looking for an accountant, you want to find someone, that has some experience with your particular industry. That was a good question because I forgot to mention that. What else? Okay, so then how do you find one? How do you find a CPA or an accountant? I would first say with referrals, right? You want to speak to other business owners, other people who actually like their accountant, right? Or their CPA. So that's the best way to find someone to work with. And then you want to find out if that person works in your particular industry. Then there are other resources, like there's a directory of any CPA that holds a license, an active license, like they haven't jacked anybody up and lost their license. You'll find them on a directory. So you go to the directory of your state. There's a board of accountancy in every state, and you can look for one through the directories, right? That's how you find a CPA. Also, if an accountant, whether CPA or non-CPA, specializes in tax work and they do tax work, there's a good chance you're going to see them in a directory at irs.gov. Now, IRS also publishes a directory of tax professionals, so that's another way to find them. So those are, those are the most common ways of finding someone to work with. Do we have any questions? No other questions? So really the key, takeaways are that all CPAs are accountants, but not all accountants are CPAs, right? Not all CPAs do tax work, so you want to find one. If you're looking for someone for accounting and bookkeeping, you can find one that, does accounting and bookkeeping for small businesses. But if you're looking for someone particularly for tax work, then you want to find one who also does tax work as well. If not, you can engage at least 3 people for your business. You'll have your bookkeeper who's doing day-to-day invoicing, making sure your records are accurate. They're using the bookkeeping system. They know how to use the bookkeeping system. Please, for the love of God, if you hire a bookkeeper, make sure they at least know the software. We go into a lot of people's books and see where no one has ever customized the books for that particular business. There's a whole bunch of random accounts, expense accounts, income accounts, liability accounts, stuff just sitting there that doesn't supposed to be there. So you want to make sure your bookkeeper has some knowledge of general bookkeeping, general accounting principles, and they know how to use the software. Okay, that's the first thing. So you have your bookkeeper, then you may have an accountant to help you with your financial statements, and then you may have a CPA that's doing your tax work. So conceivably, you can have all 3. Starting out, you can keep it basic. You can find someone that doubles up. You can find an accountant that also does tax work and offers bookkeeping, and you're good there. So let's see if you have any other questions. Once I found an accountant who works in my industry, what questions should I ask to determine if they can help me scale? Yes, you want to find accountants that have some experience with positioning you for growth. Like if you have a conversation with them about the pricing that you're using either for your products or your services, right? You want to have a conversation with them. And if they can't give you any helpful advice in terms of that, or they look at, like a prior year financial statement and can't give you any insight on where you can minimize expenses, let's say, or set goals to plan for higher income, right? You should be setting an annual goal to increase your revenue, essentially. And if you can't have those conversations with the accountant, then maybe you need to do some more research and find another one. So those are the type of questions you want to ask. What's the experience with, helping to minimize expenses and or reviewing tax returns and stuff like that, to help you. Yeah, you want an accountant that will help focus on profits and growing. Yeah.
Do you work with nonprofits?
Do I work with? Yes, we work with nonprofits. We do work with nonprofits. We have on our team, we have a senior accountant who's dedicated to our nonprofit work. So yes, we do. And I have many years of experience working with nonprofits, working for nonprofits and doing accounting work for nonprofits. What about my business is fairly new and I cannot afford? Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. It is kind of, most people think it's unaffordable, or unaffordable to retain someone to help, but really it isn't. I mean, if you have an iPhone, a Mac computer, a Mac Air, you sitting in Starbucks every day doing your work, you traveling, going to expos, you spending on marketing stuff, supplies for your business. You're spending on a whole lot of stuff for your business, the fun stuff. You're not prioritizing your bookkeeping. So it's not that, in most cases, it's not that you can't afford it. It's just that you didn't put it in your budget to pay for it. You haven't prioritized it yet. And so what I'm telling you is, make it a priority and make it one of the things you're going to spend on from the very beginning. And you might have to, do your research to find one that's affordable. One thing I can say is CPAs have licenses, so they tend to be a little bit more expensive than non-CPA accountants. So you would probably start with a non-CPA accountant or super duper hellified bookkeeper. A lot of times can help you. So, let me see. Bookkeepers are not accountants. Oh, my last takeaway was, bookkeepers are not accountants, although some of the work overlaps. So you just want to be clear on who you're working with. I tell you, I got a phone call from someone who was looking for help with financial statements, and she was so frustrated because the person who had prepared her taxes was not giving her the financial statements that she needed to get a loan. Turns out that person was a mere tax preparer. They weren't an accountant, so they had no clue as to how to create financial statements for her to go for the loan. So that's why I'm reiterating to you the importance of knowing the distinction between a bookkeeper, a tax preparer, an accountant, and a CPA. Okay, so no questions, and I appreciate you logging in and joining us on this first session of 3. We're going to do this 3 times on, I guess, the next 2 Tuesdays. It'll be a different topic, and we'll probably, if you have any questions beforehand, you can, of course, ping us or ding us or whatever you do on Instagram. You can even call the office and what else? And if you need help, we have all my consultations, well, not all, but most of my consultations over the phone are complimentary. Okay, so if you would like a complimentary consultation to just go over some of the things specific to your business, then you can email the office and we'll set you up with an appointment. Yes, Atomic Gold, every Tuesday, because I'm Tuesday, we can set you up with a complimentary consultation. And also, if you feel like you're ready for a bookkeeping system for your business, we have some like starter packages, that will help you jumpstart it and make sure it's customized for your business and you have what you need to take the ball rolling. And, and so we can send you that information as well. Okay, if there's no more questions, then we're going to end here. All right, everyone? What do I need?
Can you just let them know that everything that they need to like connect to is on your...
Oh, yeah. So if you go in the bio, you click on Linktree. We have a fancy schmancy Linktree, and it has all the links to contact us. There's like absolutely no way you can say, I didn't know how to reach you. Hazel, yes. I do in-person consultations. We charge for the in-person consultations, however. So if you want to do that, that's fine. Maybe we could start with the comp 20 minutes over the phone and then see, if we need to do it in person. Or you might be like, look, I'll pay you. So we can send you that appointment instead. And what else? Oh, okay. So they tell me everything I remember to tell you. So don't forget that I have the video series on YouTube. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow me there. There's other tips and hopefully helpful information that you can use. And what else?
Link is also...
Yeah, and the link is on the link tree there as well. Everybody good? If we are, we're signing off.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.